Hello everyone and welcome back to Hempfield Happenings.
Today we are reporting from Newcastle, Delaware.
The old historic town holds the beauty of the 17th century while still being home to about 5,500 people today.
The Newcastle and Frenchtown Railroad, which opened in 1832, is an example of the rich history this town has to offer. This railroad was the first railroad system in Delaware and one of the first in the nation.
That's right, Lexi. The residents of Newcastle work hard to keep alive almost 400 years of history. From colonial restaurants to notable government buildings, the town celebrates its originality.
All this and more on this month's episode of Hempfield Happenings. With the view of the Delaware River, Jessop's Tavern preserves the charm of the city's colonial past. It offers a menu inspired by English, Dutch, Belgian, and Swedish traditions, paired with an impressive selection of over 300 Belgian beers. Chris Decker explored how the first tavern in Newcastle maintains tradition even in present times.
Jessop's Tavern in Newcastle, Delaware is a beloved dining destination for tourists and locals alike. But while the restaurant is a newer establishment, it's built on the foundation of one of the first buildings in Newcastle. The Jessop Tavern, near William Penn's first landing in America, holds a lot of rich history.
Well, it was originally built in 1674, and it's been a house for most of its life until it's turned into other things.
Current ownership decided to keep the original owner's legacy in mind by putting the tavern in the original owner's name.
That's why we call it Jessop's Tavern. His name was Abraham Jessop. He was a coopersmith, or a barrel maker. He lived here in 1724. So we don't know prior to that, but we know as far back as we've been able to go. Being one of the original homes on obviously on a very important street, the fact that it's still here through multiple wars and floods and hurricanes. I mean, we're right by the river. The fact that we haven't flooded is a miracle.
The unique atmosphere and traditional food brings people of all cultures into the tavern.
The menu selections are wonderful. We have a hard time all the time choosing what to order. So
the history of it. The food's great too.
We drove all the way from Kent County to here just to eat. So very good food. Nice atmosphere.
There's a lot going on in town usually, so we get a lot of good people that come in and, they always help the business out, whether they're local or they're from out of town.
It's wonderful to come to Old Newcastle.
We all have to eat, but we all don't always have a chance to see history. There's so much to know and to learn. Our job is to try to keep history alive. And it's a lot easier when people are eating and drinking. Walking in a museum is great, but if you have a cold beer and a hot sandwich, you're a little happier about it.
Over the centuries, Jessop's Tavern has seen a great change, but in many ways, it remains the same. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Chris Decker.
Thank you.
In the heart of Newcastle lies the Newcastle Courtroom Museum, which was one of the first government buildings in the state of Delaware. Brooklyn Note explored this important landmark and its history.
I'm standing here in front of the Newcastle Courthouse Museum. Although it's not just a courthouse, it's a symbol of one of Delaware's first.
It was one of our first government buildings. This is where we became a state, in this building. So the courthouse was finished in February of 1732, and it was in operation here until 1881. But upstairs in our assembly room is where we decided that we were going to become separate from Pennsylvania and from England on June 15th of 1776.
This courthouse holds a lot of significance due to the fact that Newcastle, the city where this courtroom stands, was Delaware's first state capital.
It's so cool to walk around here and see all these old buildings, how charming they are, and how much history there is here.
We were the courthouse here from 1732 through 1881. There was an original courthouse that stood in this location first, but we also were a tea room from anywhere in the Great Depression all the way up through the end of World War II into the early 50s. And so this was a restaurant at one point also. It's been a police station, it's been an armory, and I always let people know too, I think it's so funny, we were a gymnasium too. So people were playing half-court basketball in this area.
Most historic landmarks remain a memory to look back on, but this courtroom serves a bigger purpose.
We have a gavel up there because we still use that gavel. We were privileged enough to be able to host 2 naturalization ceremonies last year in 2024. President Biden was sworn in here when he was senator for our state, and my husband and I were married here. So all the same things you can do in a courthouse.
Raised my own kids in this town. Now they appreciate the fact that they grew up in history.
Everywhere you go, there are historical landmarks. The Newcastle Courthouse is held in Delaware, not only serving as a live courthouse, but a museum for the public. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Brooklyn Nolt.
I think it's safe to say that Newcastle, Delaware is a town where history isn't just remembered, it's lived.
From its first taverns to iconic landmarks, Newcastle continues to tell the stories that have shaped our nation.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time as we uncover even more stories that define our past, present, and future.
For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Lindsay Over.
And I'm Lexi Robinson.
Hello, and welcome to the February episode of Hempfield Happenings. I'm Carter Gingrich, and what you just watched was a news report we prepared in Newcastle, Delaware, as we practiced for our national competition coming up in Tampa. While some of us created the news report, the other half of the class worked on a short film based on the prompt, "This Comes First." Here's their film.
I'm going to miss this town so much, from the deli with the world's best sandwiches to the friends that I've made. I know I'm going to long for this place so much when I'm gone. That's the reason I started on my little adventures today. Hi. Could I have an American sub and no pickles?
No pickles. Do you want oregano and salt and pepper?
Yeah, please.
Still no pickles?
Why do you care?
Oh
my god, there's pickles on here.
Are you still going to be doing this when you're at the University of Hawaii?
Yeah, where you were supposed to go with me?
Well, I didn't want to live on the island.
Well, I didn't want to stay home.
Can you just get over this?
And you just bailed, no. Change. I've got a sub. Whatever, it has pickles on it, I don't even want it. That's the library. Wait, that's not important until later. There are so many stores within this tiny little town that I've never walked into. That was probably my inspiration to head here. Hanging out in the park was such an important part of my childhood. I'm going to miss it. Hi, Katie. I'm sorry about earlier. What am I supposed to do with this?
Didn't you say you wanted to play a new sport?
After all these firsts, I headed to the place where I most feel like myself.
Hey, I bought your graduation gift.
Pickles, really? Are you sure this is edible? You know what? I'll give it a try. I guess it's not that bad.
What is this?
Oh, my bucket list, I just finished it. Whether or not I like pickles does not matter. What does is that I learned more about myself today, and it all started with a bucket list.
Back in October, the senior class competed nationally in a video event where they had 3 days to create both a film as well as a news feature based on the prompt Teacher Retention. Here are both of our entries.
Let's get this over with. Alright, I'm Detective Hayes. It's November 16th, 2024, 12:34 p.m. This is case number 2493. Can you please state your name for the record?
Tatum Bay.
Just start from the beginning.
I don't know, I was just on a run and everything went black.
Well, did you see where she took you?
Wait, she?
He, she, they, whoever. Where did they take you?
I don't know, I don't remember. Everything went black. I can't tell you.
We can't do anything with this case if you have nothing to tell us, and I'm gonna go back to my boss, and he's gonna fire me as the lead detective. Like, what? I don't even understand how you didn't know what this guy looked like. Like, you didn't get a glimpse of him at all? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. All right, did you notice anything weird? Did he take anything from you? Anything helps.
I don't know, my watch is gone and my jewelry, like my earrings and my necklace are gone, and I think he had on some type of like work boot or something.
What are you talking about, boot? How are we gonna figure this out if you have nothing to tell us? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna get fired. I'm the lead detective. What is happening right now? I don't... Shut up.
Squared equals
C squared! 37% of teachers are planning on leaving their districts or the profession altogether. With that being said, we need a way to retain teachers. Of course, for that to happen, some things need to change. Teachers say that they find their work rewarding. Some shared some of their favorite parts of education.
My favorite part of teaching is coming in and getting all the hugs that I get in the hallway. To see the excitement, that positive energy, that feeds my soul. And that's what pushes me to make it through the day when some days it's a little harder.
However, teachers are struggling to keep up with the uncooperative school boards and work environments.
The problems have to be addressed and not sugarcoated. You have to get to the root of the problem to be able to assist the students to be successful, and teachers also need to get that support, whether it's having someone push into their classroom and help lighten the load.
Teachers and students alike both mentioned what the school boards could do to make the teachers' jobs easier.
The amount of support that we get, sometimes it feels like the world just all kind of falls on our shoulders, and every time that we grasp what they're asking us to do, it's like something else is added to the list, and that list is just ever going.
Districts should definitely listen to their teachers more. And in the end, the student is the product, but the teacher is what makes the product.
Students point out all the hard work that the teachers do.
Sure, so I think teachers are important because they really see and shape you as a person from the time that you're in kindergarten, which is around 5 years old, to when you're in high school, which can be 18.
To conclude, teachers are a vital part of the lives of children. Things could really go downhill if we lose them. Therefore, we need to retain teachers from leaving. For STN, I'm Tyler Constey.
In the spring, students have the opportunity to travel overseas. With trips to Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy in the works, Emma Stuckey explored some study abroad options.
According to the National Association of Foreign Student Advisors, students studying abroad increased by 49% in 2022. With upcoming trips to Dubai and Switzerland, there's no doubt that Hempfield supports student travel. Senora Franz Eby has witnessed how traveling has impacted many students.
World travel will change you. Once you have a little taste of it, you just get hungry for more. You find ways that you can continue to study abroad. I did so myself. Once I had a little taste of the Dominican Republic, I knew I needed to continue, and so I studied in Spain. I've learned that once a student goes on one trip, they are not done. They want to explore the world. They want to keep going. And so if you have that experience and high school starts earlier, then you're going to have more time to travel.
Student Mira Zikafus also believes that studying abroad has its benefits.
This experience changed my life because it made me grow as a person overall. Coming back from Germany, I've been a lot happier, and before Germany, I would see stuff in black and white. I was very logical and didn't really put any effort in. After Germany, I realized that there's so much more to life than just black and white. People don't really think that there's anything else outside of America, but when you go out, you realize there's different cultures, different dialects, different ways of living, and it's just a lot. It changes your perspective on life and your way of living too.
Aside from personal growth, studying abroad can also benefit a student in their academic and professional lives.
I'll say the good is that they have something that's really good on their resume or their college transcript, some exposure to being overseas.
It also prepared me for college, because being over there with no parents and you're kind of by yourself, you have to figure things out for yourself. It prepares you for what you're going to experience in college and after college, because when you're in that time, you're going to be by yourself.
Overall, studying abroad can benefit a student in many ways. So whether it's Spain or Germany, there's always more to explore. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Emma Spiker.
In our next story, Lindsay Over takes a look at social media's influence on teens.
TikTok.
TikTok. I usually get it from TikTok.
YouTube. According to the Pew Research Center, 1 in 3 adults often get news from the TV. The question arises, why are the other 2/3 looking for alternatives?
I think what's driving people to social media is the ease of it. I think it's so easy just to instantaneously get information from social media.
All of their media is given to them from their phone. So they're choosing to go on different social media platforms, and then media is coming at them all the time, 24/7.
Despite the simplicity of social media, there are dangers that arise from the facade of the internet.
I think, especially the younger generation has a tendency to believe that, well, if it's on the internet, it's true. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. Just because it's on a platform doesn't make it real. I think the danger in that is that you just start to believe everything you hear. And then, the algorithms that exist regarding what news media you're looking after or your certain types of terms you're searching for, you start to get an echo chamber, and then you only hear one perspective, and especially if it's a controversial topic.
Because of a lack of widespread or thorough vetting, mis- and disinformation have become more prominent.
Absolutely, there is a ton of misinformation on social media, and it can be disinformation and it can be misinformation. And the difference is when disinformation is spread, it's on purpose. It's meant to put fake news out there. It's meant to lead people to believe things that simply aren't true. But I think what's a little bit more horrifying is the misinformation and unknowingly kind of sharing that without really critically looking at it and thinking about maybe I should check this before I share it out on my own social media with other people.
With the ability to create a source of income from the internet, bias and inauthenticity arises.
Because it's all about likes and clicks, and and now you monetize aspects of social media it doesn't matter. If the accuracy doesn't matter, you're just trying to get likes, you're just trying to get clicks, and that's the motivation.
Out of this struggle rises the need to understand bias when consuming media.
As a newer generation kind of being raised within this scenario, I think that teens today really need to take a close look at, what information they're consuming, what media that they're consuming, and decide maybe to associate themselves and their beliefs with a media outlet that they can rely upon. That way they can always go in and cross-reference the information.
The shift towards news consumption on social media is arising. For more information on national trends in media, its consumption, and how to become more literate in the internet, the Pew Research Center has abundant resources. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Lindsay Over.
Thanks for watching this month's Hempfield Happenings. To close the show, McKenna Straley talked to some people involved in the production of a local feature film called Brave the Dark. We hope you enjoy it and come back next month to meet our new Hempfield Happenings crew.
Absolutely thrilled to announce that Angel Studios is distributing Brave the Dark in theaters nationwide, January 24th, 2025.
Stan Dean radiated his passion for education and the arts throughout his teaching career and instilled in his students' minds that they could achieve whatever they put their minds to. But when his path crossed with a troubled student named Nate, lost within his unfortunate circumstances, Stan stepped up and used his passion for a greater cause. A story that has been inspiring many in the Lancaster community is about to touch the hearts of thousands more as it hits the big screens in January of 2025. Brave the Dark follows the true story of Nate, a teen with a tragic backstory who kept the details of his personal life to himself throughout his high school years. Not only did this true story take place in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in the 1980s, but it was also produced by a locally based film company, Make Films.
Make Films is a production company based out of Lancaster City, and we do commercials, advertising, and we also do feature films and documentaries.
Nate attended Garden Spot High School in New Holland, Pennsylvania, where he would eventually meet Stan Dean, the teacher who became more than just an educator to him. Also attending Garden Spot with his own special connection to Stan was Derek Diener, the creator of Make Films.
And then I heard a lot of stories about Nate and, what happened in the 80s, but I didn't really know the story that well. And as the years progressed, I started to get to know him through a local theater that my mom runs, and Stan was a director there. And so I met Stan and then met Nate and started hearing the story and what Nate went through and what, Mr. Dean helped him get through and really fell in love with. And around 4 years ago, the producers that have been working with Nate over the last 8 years, making this film possible, asked if I'd get involved to kind of help take it to the finish line. And that's when I got officially involved 4 years ago.
With Make now involved in bringing Nate and Stan's story to life, they were able to begin the creation process, including everything from finding financial sponsors to filming in several well-known Lancaster locations, like our own Hempfield Pool. Dating all the way back to the pre-production work in August of 2021, creating Brave the Dark took upwards of 2 years to finalize with its many moving parts.
There's lots of pieces of making a movie, the casting and the crew side kind of built up, and then once you have all the money to make the movie, once you have a team to make the movie, then you'll start on planning, prep, pre-production, and that process for an independent film this size can be anywhere from like 4 weeks to 8 weeks. And then we had 26 days of production over the course of 5 weeks in September and October. Those are intense days, 12 to 15-hour days. You're constantly making script adjustments, making adjustments with weather, you have a cast and crew of 80 to 120 people every day showing up for different places. So it's a lot of moving parts, but then once the movie's shot, then you go into post-production, which is about a year of editorial and mastering and sound design and color mixing and all those things.
Brave the Dark has been all over the country, from recording the sound for the movie at the iconic Warner Brothers soundstage to attending several film festivals around the world. First appearing at the Philadelphia Film Festival, where the film made its debut in October of 2023, and then traveling to Indianapolis for the Heartland International Film Festival, where Brave the Dark won the overall Audience Choice Award. In March of 2024, they attended the Omaha Film Festival in Nebraska, where they also won the overall Audience Choice Feature Film, as well as Best Feature Film. Brave the Dark made its West Coast debut at the San Diego Film Festival and the Newport Beach Film Festival, where they won the Audience Choice Award for the third time. And lastly, heading over to Cork, Ireland to make their international debut. Eventually, after their tour of film festivals, Angel Studios picked up the film and started their own press tour in anticipation of the film's release to around 2,500 theaters in America.
So right now, as we get closer to the launch, they're doing things like a lot of social media ads. They're putting the trailer in front of a lot of other movies that are in the theaters right now. They're doing press tours and just asking for my involvement or for the team's involvement to help get the word out.
The success of Brave the Dark being picked up to be shown in national movie theaters is a huge milestone for Making Angel Studios after years of hard work. However, they hope to achieve so much more with the release of this movie.
I started on this movie because I thought that the impact that a teacher has on a student and the life-changing trajectory that brings is important for others to learn from and to grow from. One act of kindness that we can do for someone else can make a huge difference. And I really wanted to show like Lancaster and Stan Dean and Nate's story to the world. Mr. Dean, he gave his life for his kids and wanted that to be shown and wanted people to be inspired by that. And we're also partnering with some nonprofits that will help people who want to make a difference in their communities or kids that need help.
Although Stan Dean is no longer with us, his legacy lives on through Nate and the hundreds of other students he inspired throughout his lifetime. In an effort to extend Stan's legacy, Nate created the Stan Dean Foundation. This foundation seeks to help adolescents through investing in their education and artistic abilities. If you would like to help a survivor of childhood trauma, you can visit standeanfoundation.org and make a donation. If you would like to see this true story unfold on the big screen, you can visit angel.com and search for theaters in your community showing Brave the Dark. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm McKenna Straley.